Hello, Guardians. Welcome back to Tower Casuals, the Destiny podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Deargan. Alongside me, as always, is the man who just wants the Mavs to win, Josh Finney.
God bless America. Yes, I do. I need him to keep winning.
Yeah, well,
it's almost playoff time. I'm nervous. I'm nervous, Corey.
You could be a Cavs fan right now, Josh.
I mean, y'all had a great run, and then it just kind of fell apart over the last month.
Yeah, it's been rough, but it's Cleveland sports, Josh. It's what happened.
I'll put it this: you guys sold your soul for that Max Strus 3 against the Mavericks.
Yeah, it's fair. That's the last time we were any good.
And that kind of kickstarted our run. So, how have you been, Corey? We're recording later than normal.
We are. I have like 75 distractions, and so I'm trying not to be distracted, but
it's fair.
I'm all over the place, Josh. Let me tell you, I am just all over the place. I have 1,000 things to just like. Let me tell you about emails, Josh.
Tell me all about Microsoft Outlook.
Oh God, no, I don't know. I use a Mac. I'm not using fucking Outlook. Man, too many emails, man. People just don't email you back, and then they all decide to email you all at once, and then you just have to reply to them all.
Right.
Yeah. So, anyways, how are you, Josh?
I'm good. It's been a busy week. I've had some stuff going on. I want to start the show off with a shout out to one of the members of our server. I was playing some Iron Banner with him last night. Virtual Massacre. He's going through some tough times. I don't want to get into it because it's it's family business, it's some private stuff. But if you guys have any, let me get my words together. If you guys have any positive vibes to send his way, send him out there. He's a great guy, and he could use our support as a community right now. So
yeah, positive vibes.
All the positive vibes, man. We talked quite a bit last night, and hoping things get better.
Yep.
Man, I'm good. I'm good. It's been a week, but man, that last end of the live stream has me really hyped. Let me tell you, week started off good when I saw that. I'm all the way here for it. I do feel like a lot of what they showed on Tuesday ultimately could have been in an email.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not always a bad thing. I did enjoy them using the dev tools to show us around the maps. Let's get right into it. Let's get right on into it.
Yeah.
the headliner obviously is that the Whisper mission and 0 Hour are both coming back.
Yeah, 0 Hour.
With Whisper and Outbreak being craftable.
Yeah.
And there's some real spicy perks on these guns. These are gonna be must-have guns.
Oh man, I'm gonna be chasing some Outbreak. Let me tell you.
Well, I like how they have it set up. It's going to be very similar to how they did the Vexcalibur quest, how they did the Wishkeeper quest, to where you go in and how they've done like Dead Man's in the reprise missions. You get the weapon to craft it on the first run, and then you get a quest each week for the next 3 weeks to finish it up. Which I think is really cool. Eris is going to be the vendor for these, so they're not going to quite be in the Legends tab, but I do like that Eris is the vendor for them. Especially with Whisper, it makes a lot of sense for Eris to be the vendor. Obviously, Mithrax isn't wandering around the tower, otherwise I'm pretty sure he'd be the vendor for 0 Hour. I do like that both of these are back. New perks, they both sound completely awesome. I was talking on Twitter with a few people. Rapid Hit on Outbreak is going to be nutty. Rewind rounds is on it. That looks absolutely filthy. And I can't wait. So how this is going to work is Whisper is going to come back starting on Tuesday with Into the Light on the 9th. Whisper comes back. And then on May the 7th with the map pack for Crucible, 0 Hour is going to be coming back, giving us reasons to log in every week between now and June 4th. In addition to getting your 700 Bright Dust, it's time to go hit up those exotic missions. It's time to play a Crucible playlist that will only feature the 3 new maps, which I'm really excited for. And there's going to be some other changes to these missions, they told us. There's going to be some things that are a little bit different in them in terms of the combat encounters. They didn't want to spoil the bosses, they told us. So there's going to be some different boss encounters. The ships are both coming back that were tied to each mission, but they're going to be different. So if you have the OG ship, you're part of a special club now for both of these missions. I unfortunately never got the Whisper ship. I was still a little ways off on getting it. But I think it's cool that those are going to be earnable. 40-minute timers on both of these missions for normal, 20-minute timers on heroic. That's gonna be wild. That's gonna be like OG 0 Hour on Whisper all over again with those 20-minute timers. I do like that it's the 40 minutes for the base versions. It makes it much easier to teach people these missions and to go through, look for the secrets, maybe look for things that are different. How you feel about these, Corey? I know how much you love Outbreak.
I know, man. I'm so excited, man. I'm excited. I'm excited to do Whisper too because I've only done that mission twice.
Yeah.
And so I mean once you have the weapon, there's not, I mean, for me at least, there wasn't really another reason to go back.
I mean, chasing the catalyst. Chasing
right,
the catalyst
but
was definitely one. Trying to get the ship.
Yeah, I just,
Yeah.
I'm not a sniper guy, so I wasn't like really chasing the catalyst. It was Outbreak for me that I was chasing.
I did like they said if you got the catalysts for these 2 weapons back in the day, they will automatically be there for you. So you won't have as deep of a grind if you already had those catalysts. So kind of nice for those veteran players. Really stoked because Outbreak, one of my all-time favorite primaries, and let me tell you something, pulses are real good right now, and Outbreak always an exotic that is in my inventory for a day 1 campaign or a day 1 raid.
Yep,
it's always there. So I'm
so
ready. I'm ready to get this crafted and leveled up and ready to go for the final fight with the Witness. I like it. I want to start with a question that we have about this, though.
Question.
Jiggly Panda writes in, and no, it's not about crossovers. With us getting Outbreak back, do you think we'll get a weapon suite? And if so, is it the Black Armory weapons that are coming back? I'm going to be totally honest with y'all. I don't think we're getting weapons with these. And that is because these missions are not designed to be broken up throughout multiple combat encounters like Presage or some of the others. I know that, like chests didn't really like drop from those while you were doing them, but I don't think they're going to bring them back. I would love to be proven wrong, but I feel like if they were going to, we would have been told. That's also a really tall order for us to be getting 12 new weapons already, or 12 reprised weapons, and 2 craftable exotics out of this. I think that's a bit much for us to expect anything more than that for a free update. I would like to be proven wrong because we all know how much I love the Black Armory weapons. I don't think we're there quite yet. I think they're going to save those for episodes, personally. Again, I would love to be proven wrong. I just, I don't personally see it happening.
Yeah.
And then we get another question, also from Jiggly. What are your thoughts on Into the Light now that it's fully revealed? Are you excited for this drop, and has it ignited some excitement for you guys for the final shape? For me, absolutely. I am 100% all the way here for it. I think this is awesome. It's been a while since I was this excited about anything from Destiny. I would probably have to go back to the final shape reveal to be this excited about something. I mean, God, there was that last cutscene of Season of the Witch that set up Wish that got me really hyped, and then Wish kind of fell on its face. which is a bummer. I think it was a really cool premise. We've been over that. I don't want to revisit that any more than we have to. Ronnie asked us in the Discord earlier this week if this is on paper, is this the best content drop we've gotten all year? And I have to say yes. I think on paper there's nothing that has been done better than this.
Yeah. No, I think I agree with you.
12 fan favorite weapons, 3 multiplayer maps, 2 returning exotic missions with craftable exotics, a brand new game mode with 3 maps as part of it, character changes, a name change token. And this is stuff that like you could have sprinkled throughout the year, and I think we would have all correctly been like, oh, that's really cool, like that's a really nice thing. It hitting all at once I think is a little bit more impactful, especially in a 6-month season. Would I have liked to, like, I want to be a little greedy here and say, man, I would have liked to have seen this back in like March, to have given us like the full amount of time. But the way that this is structured, we've got something every single week to look forward to leading up to June 4th. And I mean, like, obviously for those who like grind and play a ton of this, like that, those reasons are going to kind of taper off about mid-May outside of like logging in to do 0 hour. But for the very least, all of April is there. And I haven't even hit on the number one thing that I've seen people talking about. Those of us who love grinding in this game, the Pantheon. I'm so stoked to
Ooh.
hear more about this. This is the thing that is there for those of us who love the end game grind, who love raiding, who like GMs, who like challenges. This is for us.
Yeah, this
This
looks
is
cool.
this is a mode that I like that they're kind of making explicitly clear off the bat. This is not for everyone.
Yeah, which is good. Like
They need stuff
I
like
feel
this.
like they've I feel like obviously when Destiny 2 came out, they tried to make everything for everyone. And then I feel like they overcorrected the other way. And then they kind of overcorrected again. And they've kind of hit like a little bit of a sweet spot, but now like making the stuff explicit and being like, look, this is for these people.
Yeah.
And we're not going to apologize for it, right?
Like
That's
they understand like who the audience is at this point. Like a lot of us who have been playing for a very long time are those, we want those challenges. And I think like in a way this is like kind of a send-off to a lot of us. That's how I'm choosing to see this.
yeah.
But they've touted adept weapons, special emblems to indicate how far you get in it. They have teased exotics. I'm very, very, very interested to see what bosses are in here, what's different on these gauntlet challenges. I'm very ready to check this out. This drops on April 30th, and they said they're going to give us more details before then. I actually kind of would have loved if they hadn't mentioned it at all to us and they had just dropped it.
Yeah.
Or like announced it the Thursday before or something.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would have been so cool to hold off on this until the 30th, until the very end of the month, and tell us like, oh yeah, by the way, we've got one more thing for you guys. So we found out there's a title to earn during all of this, the Brave title. Uh, Definitely going to be here for that. I'm really hoping that the insignia is just Shax's helmet. This
The
is
other horn. No,
so.
the insignia needs to be the other horn. It's just the
Uh,
horn.
I I guess like when I think about this event, like, and this is obviously all on paper. We haven't gotten to play it yet. Next week, we're going to talk a lot about Onslaught. Going to talk about the first 6 weapons in the suite. This is a pretty badly needed win for them,
Yeah.
for Bungie as a whole. And like, I could give a shit less what the C-suite thinks about this. Like, they clearly were like, oh yeah, let's go ahead and do this because like, oh well, we can put content that's already in the game back in the game. We don't have to do a whole lot to update it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh well, we'll get all sorts of players back because Craftable Whisper, Craftable Outbreak, like all these fan favorite guns, especially Mountaintop and Recluse coming back, and Luna's Howl is coming back. Like, oh, we'll get all the PvP players super interested in those. And like, meanwhile, the people there who are the developers who are passionate about making good experiences are like, oh, thank
Mm-hmm.
God, we just get to like we got them to agree to this, and we get to do all these things we want to with the sandbox. So I'm stoked. I don't really want to talk any more about it. We have a pretty lengthy chop tonight, but this is happening next Tuesday and leading directly into this content drop, we have the first real look at the final shape. We have gameplay coming. It is going to be a half-hour long live stream starting at, let me get the exact time pulled up here. It's going to start at 9:30 Pacific time. It is going to run for a half an hour. The emblem they're giving away is that is the cat face again, the cat tiger face, whatever you want to call it, the lynx. So for a half hour, and then at reset, exactly at reset, they will be dropping a trailer for Into the Light. So I'm pretty stoked. We'll see what happens here. I'm a big fan of Bungie doing these streams. I don't want them to do them all the time, but I think when you've got major updates coming, this is a really cool way to do them.
Yeah.
Just maybe this could have been 2 instead of 3.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely feel like, especially that first one was like, it probably could have been merged with another one. Like, I think the first 2 should have been one, right?
So for me, I actually would say that I think that these last 2 needed to be combined. The first one I think was cool to show us, like, keep showing us Onslaught, and it feels like that stream was supposed to go a bit longer, but they pulled the plug because of all the bullshit popping up on the screen. I actually think we would have gotten some of the rolls if that shit hadn't started. Like, maybe would have seen some of the loot drops, and maybe explain some of these other things then. So that's a bummer. All right, Corey, we got to move into this schwab.
Yes,
we got to move into this schwab.
Schwab.
Big schwab. Big schwab. We've already talked. Oh, also, New Light is now skippable. The New Light tutorial is skippable. Oh, thank God. Nobody ever has to see Shahan ever again.
Did you see?
I heard the quip they made about it. It was really funny.
There was an article somewhere that said you never have to talk to Shahan again, and it was just like this big, like, crammed X over Shahan's face. Oh my gosh, the worst
Jesus
character in Destiny.
Christ.
God, if he
disgusting.
Dude, if he
we have an update. We have an update from the PvP strike team, which pretty big, and then we got some Into the Light weapon balance changes to get to. I'm not a huge fan of the changes that they're talking about here. The comp changes I'm actually okay with. We're removing Survival and Countdown Rush and replacing them with 3v3 Clash and Collision. And for Collision, we've changed some zone placements on maps such as Dead Cliffs and Vostok. For Clash, we are swapping the ammo meter system for the ammo crate system. Okay, so the ammo crates, I'm not totally opposed to them in here. I am very opposed to them in Trials. We have a lot to talk about with it in Trials. But they give an explanation here. The benefit of the crate system in Clash specifically is it continues to promote map movement and helps to de-incentivize passive team play, which can occur when there are no on-map objectives that otherwise encourage flow in and out of engagement zones. This change will result in a small net increase in special ammo availability in comp compared to the ammo meter system, while still being an overall reduction from the pre-update 7.3.5 respawn values. So, okay, I can understand it for comp in a mode where there's usually not an objective, right? Trials, however, I want to know what fucking feedback they heard, because they say, we've heard the feedback the special ammo economy in Trials, while improved, doesn't feel quite right just yet. Shut the fuck up. There's no way.
Yeah.
There is no way. Like, okay, there's probably some tweaks you can make, but I'm going to tell you something. I played a decent amount of Trials since they put the changes in. The change that they are about to propose here, I think, sounds absolutely awful. I've not seen a single PvPer happy about this. And if they're not happy about it, the casuals aren't happy about it, axe this shit before you even get it out the door. The first week of Trials for update 7.3.6, we will be running what we refer to as the unrestricted special ammo crate system, where all 4 ammo crates spawn every round, 1 by each team's initial spawn and 2 in neutral locations. And players who have special ammo will drop it on death when they are killed. We will use this to draw a baseline for an upper limit of special ammo in Trials. The second week, we will be moving to a restricted version of ammo crates, where only 2 crates spawn each round, the ones by the team's initial spawn. While players will still lose special ammo on death, they will not drop special ammo bricks. This variant will end up with special ammo availability being between the current ammo meter system values and the previous respawn values. During the first 2 weeks, we will gather a substantial amount of data and feedback on how both amounts feel in play to inform future tuning of special ammo systems for trials. The plan is to return to the current version of the ammo meter system in the third week of trials until we can further tune the values. This is an awful idea. This is an awful idea. I love how Trials plays right now because it promotes primary weapon gameplay for one, and not camping with a sniper or just rushing in with shotguns.
Right.
Shotguns or fusions, like you have to pick when you want to use those shots very carefully.
Mm-hmm.
And I for one appreciate that. I actually like that style of play quite a bit. I lean towards the primary style of play to begin with. I don't like this. This is, if they implement ammo crates in any way like this, then I think that especially if it's that first one, that first week of trials is going to be damn near unplayable.
Yeah.
Because that is promoting a return to let's grab our special and let's grab our special and camp the lanes.
Yeah. Which is awful.
Get ready for Cloud Strike to come back, guys. I don't like this. I like the idea of people having to go in and fight over a point, or having an objective they got to push towards, where you can't just hang out in the spawns. And I understand that that's not going away. Okay, cool. It still promotes, oh well, I can just rely and crutch my shotgun and my fusion every round now and not have to worry about picking my shots carefully. Like, if I waste my shots, oh okay, well I can pick it up when somebody dies, or I can pick it up out of my spawn every single round.
Yeah.
I don't like that at all. The second week is not any better in my opinion. I still think that that's terrible. Spawning it every round is a mistake. Now, I think if you wanted to spawn a special crate on, like, I know heavy spawns round 4. If you wanted to spawn special like round 3, like maybe round 3 and round 7, maybe I would be like, okay, I could understand that.
Mm-hmm.
But that would be about it. And it damn well better be that restricted version if you do it.
Yeah.
I don't want to see it on death. I actually think Trials has been so much more accessible to everybody. And I'm not, like, again, we just talked about like how Pantheon is something that we need. Like, we need an upper level experience. And I understand like trials and comp need to be those upper level experiences. The problem with trials being the upper level experience is you have to make it accessible to some degree, because you put so many weapons in that mode that are like top tier weapons. Like, Summoner is maybe the best primary in the game right now.
Yeah.
Especially with the new wildcard trait. Well, it's not new, but it's now a Cassioid frame, so you have the wildcard trait on it. Same with Messenger. Messenger still hits like an absolute dump truck. Like, you want a new role with that perk on it. We've seen Immortal be in there. We've gone through these cycles before, and that's my only issue with it. Is if there weren't weapons locked behind it, I'd be like, sure, tune it to your heart's degree. Make it to where it's just a mode for sweats to go in and beat the shit out of each other. Fine. Mm-hmm. The problem is you put so many weapons behind it every season. And more often than not, like this last year kind of notwithstanding, they're pretty good weapons. So it leaves the question of, well, what do we do then? And you have to find this middle ground of providing a challenge for your top players, but also making it accessible. That's always going to be the flaw of Trials. It's a very cool idea. It's a very flawed system.
Yeah.
So, we'll see how that goes. And then they're going to improve the not swap modifier, which will now remove ability energy if you change the ammo type of a weapon in your kinetic or energy slot mid-life. We are implementing this change because being able to quickly and freely swap between weapons mid-engagement nullifies the downside of using a weapon with limited ammo and pushes the risk versus reward proposal out of balance for making those choices. To clarify, this means you can swap between weapons with the same ammo type without a penalty. For example, if you have conditional finality in your kinetic slot, you can swap it to Eye of Soul or any other special ammo weapon in that slot without losing energy. But if you were to swap to Immortal or any primary ammo weapon in that slot, slot. Not swap will trigger and drain your ability energy similarly to if you had swapped a part of your subclass or exotic armor piece. This should prevent occurrences of players running special ammo weapons and swapping to primary immediately after using their ammo. So I do like that. I like that change. It is like, no, you got to commit. You got to commit to this shit. Like, I even caught myself doing this last 2 weeks ago when it was Cauldron. I caught myself doing this. So
Yeah.
I like this. I like this change. And then there are some TOS. There's some TOS changes here. Specifically, intentionally manipulating matchmaking to gain an unfair advantage, whether using Smurf accounts or third-party tools, will be a bannable offense. This includes attempts to bypass any matchmaking systems, including outlier protection, ranked, and fire team-based matchmaking. Smurf accounts are defined as an account that has been intentionally deranked or sabotaged over a sustained period to present itself as a very low-level player for the sole purpose of manipulating matchmaking. So, interesting. Players who utilize these accounts moving forward will be subject to bans, restrictions, and depending on the severity of the abuse. This will have no effect on players who play in legitimate fire teams of mixed skill. For example, those who are helping players get to the lighthouse or earn adepts in trials, or guardians who are playing with clanmates or friends who have different skill levels than their own. In addition, all initial warnings or bans will be manually reviewed by the team. I do like that they have that little note in there, so we can't just like be like, oh, well, the Bungie computers banned me. Like, no, there's actually somebody reviewing this shit.
Yeah.
So
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. So I like that. And then there are two changes that were meant to ship, that are meant to ship in this coming update, but were included in the patch notes last time around, with the competitive reward point values. And then post-game trials weapon rewards will now only grant the weekly weapon. For example, if the weekly adept weapon is summoner, all post-game drops will also be summoner to make it easier for people to target farm the role of the weapon they're interested in. I love it. I absolutely love it. That makes it easier, especially if your fire team of 3 in there with the 50% extra rewards, to try and get these, even if you're not doing good, to try and get rolls of the weapon that is the adept. You may not get an adept that week, but you're going to get rolls of the weapon regardless. That's a pretty cool change, because that way you're not getting locked out. Nobody likes being locked out of rewards.
Yeah. Nobody does.
Nobody does.
Nobody does.
Nobody does. God, I should have brought a drink in here.
One. I can.
No. It's okay.
I can show off my unopened box, Josh. If you need a drink,
it's okay. It's okay. We have an Into the Light weapon balance patch coming. This is the big one. This is a big one. Weapon archetypes. All right. Breach loaded grenade launchers see a fair amount of usage in PvE, but it's mostly wave frames for ad clear or blinding nades for crowd control. We're cranking up the impact damage for single target utility, so the mountaintop feels as juiced as it deserves. At the same time, the current radius on disorienting grenades is larger than reasonable for the amount of ammo these have, so we're reining that in a bit. Impact damage was increased by 40%. This works out at roughly a 15% damage buff, though total damage varies on the blast radius stat. And disorienting grenade radius, both damage and disorienting, has been reduced by 15%. Lightweight bows base damage increased by 6%, except for Le Monarch and Wish Ender. Thank God. Precision, those are your 450 RPM auto rifles, have had their base damage brought down by 5%. And then here we go, hand cannon changes. Because we have Luna's Howl coming. Ooh. So we gotta rein these in just a tiny bit. 180 RPM and 140 RPM hand cannons needed a small tweak to how forgiving they are, particularly with explosive payload perk on adaptives. Same is true of some pulse rifles and rapid fire scouts. So, hand cannons, precision hand cannons, have had their base damage increased by 6%. That means they can 2 crit, 2 body, low resilience guardians again, and more easily get 3 critical hits with damage boosts. And adaptive hand cannons have had their body shot increased by 1% and critical hit damage increased by 4%. Also allowing for the same thing. Pulse rifles, rapid fires, increased body shot damage by 3.5% and crit hit by 1%. Lightweights, body shot damage up by 6% and crit hits by 3%, and adaptive 5 and 2 respectively. So very excited for that. As an avid Pulse user, as somebody who is very, very, very excited for the coming pulses that we're about to get.
Mm.
All right. And
Mm-mm-mm.
rapid fire
Yeah.
scouts increase base damage by 2%.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
I'm very
Exotics. We
excited.
got a few exotic tunings here. So pretty excited here. Whisper of the Worm is coming back and will be craftable, so we wanted to ensure it's a meta pick for damage. Its DPS is already respectable, so we've increased its reserve ammunition, substantially increasing sustained damage potential. Increased total ammunition from 18 shots to 24 before any reserve mods. That's huge. That's another 6 shots of one of the biggest DPS dealers in the game. I love it. This might be one that we want to use for that raid crawl. This might be one we're keeping an eye on. 1,000 voices already delivers massive damage per shot, but you run out of ammo so fast it's hard to justify bringing it compared to other high damage options. Increased total ammunition from 7 to 11 before
Whoa.
reserve mods. Is coming with a free Slurpee.
Ooh.
This is one that had a lot of folks kind of up in arms today, and I think it's because the wording is very poorly here. Quicksilver Storm is one of the top PvE primary weapons since it's shipped in Season of the Plunder, but the time has come to dial it back a little. With these changes, it is slower to build up grenades, and the grenades deal reduced damage. This is where it's not explained well. Given that previously one magazine would give you 3 grenades and each grenade hit like a heavy grenade launcher, it's still a very strong option. Basically what they're trying to say is it's now going to take you 3 magazines to give you 3 grenades, because it says increased shots to trigger rockets by 50% and reduced grenade area of effect damage versus combatants by 37.5%. The best way I can kind of sum this up is those grenades, if they were hitting like a heavy grenade launcher, it makes sense why they got to rein this in, because they just buffed those for edge transit, and we don't need this thing being even more out of control, essentially. Last word, increased base damage by 6%, and Forerunner is going to have its base damage increased by 6%. Oh, we're almost here. We're almost at the end.
Almost
Perks. These are specifically for the weapons that we are getting back. The 3 Crucible weapons, of course. Recluse is back along Master of Arms. They have reduced the damage bonus from Master of Arms from 20 to 15%. They brought it down just a little bit, so that's still very viable, but it's, maybe not outclassing literally every single weapon in the game. Magnificent Howl and Luna's Howl was super strong. Shortly after it shipped, it ended up getting redesigned so it stopped breaking PvP. Now that Luna's Howl is returning, we want to bring back the potential of 2-tap Guardians in PvP, but with a bit more effort. The new perk description for Magnificent Howl is as follows. The number of precision final blows before reloading affects the total rounds granted with increased range and damage. Precision final blows while Magnificent Howl is active extend the effect for additional rounds. Good luck to all of you who want to use this gun. I am scared because I am bringing a weapon to counter you. For Micro Missile to make sense on the random world version of the Mountaintop, we decided to convert it into an intrinsic perk, which could then reuse to make Micro Missile frame grenade launchers in the future. We also really didn't want to return to a Mountaintop PvP meta, so this version can no longer one-hit kill in PvP, but the improved impact damage reduces it, or increases, not reduces, increases viability in PvE. Giving it a more unique role, it can now be used as a rocket-like jumping tool. We expect some epic movie of the week contenders with this one. We, of course, talked about the redesigned Micro Missile last week. Not going to go into that again. You can listen to that last week. And then Permeability fixed an issue where this perk was causing the Slammer Sword to get stuck on strand damage type. There's a couple Crucible only changes here. Flinch can have a randomizing effect on duels, so increase the reward for skilled gunplay. We've reduced flinch on primary weapons across the board by 15%. Sunshot has had its increased precision damage by 11%. Wish Ender reduced base damage by 5%. And then there are some weapons that have had incorrect ammo amounts from rewards and crates, which we don't have listed here. Overall, sounds like a pretty mild balance pass, honestly. The big excitements are the breach, of course, the breach loaded grenade launcher changes. That's really exciting. I like the redesign, Master of Arms, Magnificent Howl, and Micro Missile perks. I'm excited. I'm real excited to get in there and get my recluse on Tuesday. I'm going for it right away. Everything's being focused as recluse until I get the role I want.
I'm just saying, you guys, if you're not watching the video version, Josh has the biggest smile on his face.
I'm so excited. I genuinely never thought we were going to get Recluse and Mountaintop back. I'm so excited. This is awesome. This is there is I'm getting Blast Furnace on top of that. They're spreading the love out, so I'm not getting them all at once. This is exciting. They may not be craftable, but I'm so stoked for these. I'm so beyond excited. Oh boy. Okay. I think we're done with that.
Are you sure?
God bless America. We talked about how you can skip New Light now. Just grab your ship straight to the tower, and then there are New Light kits. These are very cool. This is similar. They noted this in the streams. This is similar to the Gift of the Thunder Gods that we got a couple years ago when they redid the Arc subclasses during Plunder. This is really cool. I like this. So you get 2 legendary weapons, 1 exotic weapon, 4 rare armor pieces with a legendary class item, and you get subclass abilities for aspects and fragments. This is cool. Every New Light kit that you pick up, and you can pick them up whether you're a veteran or you're a brand new player. You pick them up by Shax, I believe, in the Hall of Champions. Will instantly bring you to 1810 because they want everyone to be at light going in to fight the witness. That's very cool to me that we're getting that just handed to us. Also, make sure you're totally ready for onslaught and for anything that may get thrown at you in the course of your gaming adventures. I really like this. I think this is cool. Curious to see what the exotic weapons are going to be for each. I don't really have any guesses there. But I think that's cool. In addition, New Light kits will also grant players a short quest that, when completed, will grant them a piece of exotic armor. These are available to all players, so whether you're a New Light looking to gear up, a returning player looking to step into the sandbox, or a veteran looking to jumpstart a new character, Ikora will help you prepare for the fight against the Witness. Very cool. These kits are themed around specific subclass fantasies. They'll provide players with a shortcut to build crafting, giving them taste of that sweet space magic. 9 kits in all, 1 for each light subclass. Player can claim 1 per class. Enjoy. I think it's cool. I think this is awesome.
Nice.
And some really cool artworks for you if you so desire. This is some of the cool subclass artwork that they used to have in the game that got taken out. So very excited to see all that back. Iron Banner is back this week. There's a little bit of controversy around these weapons, Corey.
Yeah.
Specifically, earning them is a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
The
Well,
Tusk of the Boar grenade launcher and the reprised Multi-Mach CCX submachine gun. We have seen reports of players get entirely through a full reset of Iron Banner rep and not get a single one of these to drop from any of the Ingrams they've turned in. I saw somebody say they had turned in 68 Ingrams yesterday and did not get a single one of either weapon.
yikes.
That is infuriating. And then you've got people like Joe who log in, and the first match that they play, they get a multi-mock, or my buddy Phil who logged in and got a Tusk of the Boar on his very first drop.
Of course. Why not?
I didn't have to wait too long to get the multi-mock. I am still waiting on a Tusk of the Boar. Multi-mock's still really good. Still a really awesome weapon. We actually have a question about Iron Banner, which is why I wanted to get to this. Cade 6 writes in, do you think Bungie needs to address the drop rates of some of the new weapons in Iron Banner? Particularly, I saw someone who had 67 Ingrams in a full reset and only had one of the new weapons drop. I'm going to say that this is a special extenuating circumstance. Normally, the new weapons would be on Saladin's reward track.
Mm-hmm.
A1 Johnny and I were talking about this earlier, that there were other weapons that were put onto the tracks. Specifically at Saint 14 got the ones for this second half of the season, with Summoner and blanking on what the other weapon they brought back was. But both of those were on Saints reward track and they weren't on Saladin's.
Hmm.
I guess they decided, well, Trials is going to be back for like 6 more times probably before the final shape, whereas Saladin is only back this week and the last week of the month on April 30th. He'll be back for one more run. That's the only rationale that I had for it. I still think it's really bad, and I guess it kind of like would have messed with people who have already done 2 resets during the course of the season to like suddenly see their rewards track reset, or to be like, oh well, I can't claim these weapons now or whatever. I don't think there was any right way to do this. Rather, I think it should have just been like they should have guaranteed it that the first 2 Engrams you turn in, we're going to guarantee you those 2 weapons. I'm sure there's a way that that could have been programmed.
Yeah.
But I do think that probably should have been looked at. I don't think they're going to adjust it. Maybe they do like double drops for the last Iron Banner to try and make up for it.
Maybe.
But these weapons are going to be around
Look,
throughout the final shape, so I don't think that Bungie's too worried about it. I'm going to be honest with
no.
Kate.
Here's the thing. I understand that like these weapons are it's like a special circumstance, and like they should be more difficult to get obviously than the regular set, right? But like I don't know. I feel like 68 engrams is a lot, right? To not get one.
I mean, that's some extraordinarily terrible drop luck.
Right.
The average player is not turning in 60 something Engrams and not getting a drop. I also think it should be pointed out that once you get them in your inventory, even once, you can specifically focus for those weapons. That
Mhm.
is an option.
Yeah.
Um, which is what I plan on. Once I get a Tusk of the Boar, I actually plan on focusing only because I'm not a huge breach loader guy. I mean, I have mountaintop coming, so listen, I got to save myself. Um, I plan on focusing some multi mocks and some lethal abundances. I have not played very much Iron Banner yet this season, so I did not have a lethal abundance until today. Um, when I claimed it for my rewards track, so I could reset. I did not realize I had not claimed it, and that was part of the reason why I wasn't getting drops from my Ingrams for it. There's some really, really great Iron Banner weapons, guys. If you haven't been playing Banner, really encourage you. If you're listening to this right when it drops, go in and play it. If not, man, I hope you're in there on the 30th because there are some great weapons available to you right now. I can't speak to Tusk of the Boar, but Multi Mach is as good as ever. I was swapping between that and this is gonna sound a little sacrilegious. I was swapping between that and Summoner earlier, just kind of going off with some friends. Last night I was hanging out, whole group of us from the podcast Discord were running around rat kinging. That was a
Oh
lot of
god.
fun.
Rat King.
Oh, it was disgusting. It was absolutely an abomination, but it was a lot of fun. Banner is fun for the first time in quite a while. I like the tribute mode. Still like classic control a lot. Um, I was having a good time. I'm very happy with where Banner is as a mode currently. Um, yeah, the weapons could be tuned a little bit, but who fucking cares?
Weapons can always
Who,
be tuned.
who fucking cares? You're gonna have a chance to earn these. I will guarantee you these are gonna be on the reward track for the first Iron Banner of the final shape. Also,
Yeah.
to be like, hey, if you were one of the guys who got kind of screwed, here you go. I also think it's curious that they haven't announced an Iron Banner for May yet. That like April 30th is just gonna be the last one. Maybe that's because they want you to like just really focus down on Into the Light stuff, which I don't blame them. You're gonna have that. You're gonna have Pantheon. You got the exotic missions going. There's almost certainly going to be a final story mission, and I would wager there's going to be a live event on June 3rd. I'm very excited. I'm very excited. Corey, I've not been this excited about Destiny in quite a while.
Yeah, it's that excitement's starting to ramp up, right? I mean,
It's building.
this is about the time it happens, right? And like even on a
Mm-hmm.
downer year, like we're coming up on a. I mean, this
This has
is
been the most down year since Shadowkeep.
yeah.
I think the year of Shadowkeep Shadowkeep
I
leading to Beyond
but
Light was pretty bad.
yeah, but also like season of arrivals, like the end.
Well, the end, but I mean, never forget that season. Shadowkeep was a bad expansion.
Yeah,
It's the worst of the major expansions. Undying was a bad season.
right.
Dawn was fine. Dawn was fine, and then you had Season of the Worthy, which I still maintain is the worst season.
It's fair.
Warmind cells are the one good thing that came out of that season.
Mm.
And I think we got, is that when we got Grandmaster Nightfalls for the first time? I think it's when we got Grandmasters. So we
Was
got
it
two things out of that that were good. Arrivals was good partially because it was so unexpected.
right? But it
And I
was
think
also
part of
like,
why, I think part of the other reason why we love Arrivals so much is I think a lot of us remember the raids as they were getting ready to be sunset,
mhm,
getting all the raid rewards, getting the double weapon drops out of it. Like that was so cool. It was
mhm.
the most raiding I've ever seen the Destiny community do at once, and we've never even gotten close to it since.
Yeah.
So
I also tie Arrivals to this show specifically, I think.
I do too. I do too. I mean, and it was at a time there weren't. I mean, God, you think back to that. You think back to the summer that Arrivals came out, and there was nothing because it was summer 2020.
Mhm.
Everybody was playing Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
Like it took until I think September of that year for there to be like any like actual competition to players' time who people were playing Destiny. They if that had been a dud season for Destiny, this game may have died years ago. But
Yeah.
instead, Arrivals, still heralded as one of the best seasons ever,
Mhm.
drops. And it's really cool. And then like in September, you get I think you got Fall Guys and Phasmophobia went into early access, Grounded went into early access that summer. All these games people discovered Sea of Thieves was actually worth playing for once.
Mhm.
Of course, we've got the aforementioned Animal Crossing. Um, but there really wasn't a ton of stuff if you weren't into JRPGs, because that spring, right around the time that COVID happened, we had Animal Crossing and Doom Eternal both came out on the day that everything locked down. Both those games came
Mhm.
out.
Yeah.
Because I remember I was gonna go to Target and go buy Animal Crossing physically so that Chelsea and I could share it,
Yeah.
and I ended up not doing it because she was like, don't go out if you don't need to. Essentially, she works in a hospital. She was like, even a couple days before everything got shut down, she's like, don't do this if you don't need to.
Yeah.
Um, so we ended up buying it digitally. Doom Eternal comes out, Final Fantasy VII Remake, and Persona 5 Royale, and then nothing. Like
Mhm.
literally, I remember we were like, man, when are we going to see the next Destiny expansion? Like we were so used to seeing this stuff in late May, early June, and then they started the trend of we're going to show you the next expansion, and then we're going to drop the season on you immediately at the end.
Right.
And that was such a big balls move to do
Yeah.
at the time, and I think we also associate it with they told us about the Witch Queen and Lightfall at the same time,
Mm.
like billing it as like this is the end of the saga essentially. And of course Lightfall wasn't the end, it was the final shape.
Right.
um but it's been a journey, to get here. I really wonder if maybe Arrivals was like the last time I was this excited. I don't
I don't
well,
The
no,
Witch Queen
I
was
can't say that.
Witch Queen was
I was
pretty.
real excited going into the Witch Queen.
Yeah, dude, we were like that was like an all-time high for me at that
That
point.
was an all-time high for me. I'm not even gonna hide it. The conclusion to Seraph last year is one of the best moments in the history of Destiny.
Yeah.
Seeing the Traveler take to the skies to defend the city
And
and it
seeing the
recreating
image.
the teaser art
Oh,
is one of the greatest moments in the history of the
oh,
franchise.
so good. It was so good.
Aramis like hallucinating that the witness is behind her, and like that basically being the moment that she's like, fuck this, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Like all the implications that did for the lore, just absolutely phenomenal. And then we got Lightfall. So I don't care, I'm fully bought into the hype. My collector's edition arrived,
Yep.
which
Mine
I
too.
got some bones to pick on this son of a bitch.
Oh boy, mine's not even
I
open.
want to talk collector's editions for a minute, Corey.
Mine's sitting right here, unopened. So,
Mine is out in my full disclosure. Mine's out in the other room. Mine is in the living room. I've been reading the lore book. I meant to have some lore passages ready to read tonight. I'm trying to figure out how to structure those right now. I think we're gonna save the collector's edition lore for because I want to see what the End of the Light lore is first when we get to Tuesday. If that ends up being nothing, I mean, they've promised us lore. If that ends up being like a dud, we'll get
mhm.
through that in the first couple weeks, and then we'll make May the lead up to the final shape. Um, the lore. What I will tell you from reading that lore book, first of all, that's the best thing in this entire thing, which that's not shocking. Like the last couple collector's editions, that's been the highlight is the lore books.
Yeah.
But it's all lore that Ido has compiled about the Witness.
Yeah.
And some of this lore goes all the way back to the first garden.
That's crazy.
And that's the oldest lore we've ever gotten. It predates the Unveiling lore book.
Yeah.
It is talking with what I assume becomes the dominant personality of the Witness, a conversation between him and the gardener, essentially. And I think that is fascinating. That is utterly fascinating to me. It is an extremely well done lore book. I encourage everybody to find there. I'm sure there's a PDF of it online. Read it. It is really cool. The other book that's included with it is a book Ido has compiled of various guardians and citizens of the tower who have signed it for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was cool. That's like a little in-universe thing, like it's leather bound and stuff. Like I'll probably never look at this again, but I did think it was very cool that they leave you a few blank pages at the end, and it was kind of like the Bungie devs telling you like the Ido's final messages. I've left the final pages for you. It's very like Lord of the Rings esque. It's very reminiscent of the Red Book of Westmark. If you've ever read the Lord of the Rings: Return of the King, it's the Red Book that Frodo leaves to Sam. That it was Bilbo's book, and then he wrote The Hobbit. Frodo writes The Lord of the Rings. Sam basically writes the chronology of what happens after, and then passes the book off to his daughter in the appendices. That's very much what this book is like. They basically tell you the last pages are for you and for those that you have met on your journey, and I thought that was a really cool final touch.
Mm-hmm.
Because so much of it in it looks handmade.
Mm-hmm.
You know, messages from the children of the city, and you can tell by the names that are signed though that it's like Bungie devs, which is even cooler.
Yeah, you know what? You know what it reminds me of is that the Halo Reach journal, the Halsey journal.
The Halsey journal, yeah. It's funny that you say that. I have my Oni black box sitting on my shelf over here, right by all my. I have all my Destiny and Elder Scrolls lore books sitting in the cabinet on my desk, and then I have the Oni black box sitting on the shelf right next to it.
Nice.
So, courtesy of Corey, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's become my Halo shelf over there.
Yeah, I knew Josh would appreciate Halo more than I do. So,
I do. In fact, the Noble Team statue has found a great home here in Texas.
Yeah. You're not getting
what's not great though, Corey. I'm not thrilled with the tower replica that we get.
That's what you were saying.
I was really bummed about this. This thing is like it's lighter than an Xbox controller.
Oh, really? Ugh.
Oh, this thing feels very light. It feels very cheap. Now, I don't think it looks cheap. I think it looks fine. It's meant to look like the tower statue that is in Zavala's office.
Okay.
But it is very light. It feels very cheap to me. I don't think it's as detailed as I had been hoping for. I think the pictures do it all. I think the pictures look great. The promo pictures, and obviously the promo pictures are going to look good, but I don't think that the detail that was on the Puka or on the Hive Ghost shell, or especially on the Cryptolith, I don't feel like any of that's here. And that's a bummer because this is the most expensive collector's edition that they've ever done, and it feels like it's the lowest quality by far for me. I think Beyond Light is the only other one that has one that was like, damn, this was like not worth the money.
Yeah, well, that just came with like a bag and some. I mean, it came with like the lore books and stuff, right? But like,
yeah, it came with the lore books. It had the Shard of Darkness. It had a bag and a water bottle.
Right.
That's a pretty rough one. Like that's the one I didn't shed any tears over not having.
Because when I go to a snow planet, the one thing that it's lacking is water. Josh.
I mean, I kind of got what they were going for as like an expedition thing. Like as an expedition kit, I kind of saw I saw the vision there. I didn't agree with it, but I saw the vision. I mean, the physical lore books are the best part of these, though.
Yeah,
they're hands down the best. I really wish I could just buy a collection of these. Like, just give me like a set, like a lore library that's just the special edition books, like how they came, or like specially bound or something.
I'm shocked that they haven't done that.
I also like want to point out that you get them in varying qualities. So this was the one for the Witch Queen, for example. Okay.
Right.
It's paperback. It's kind of light. Like it still looks good inside. Okay,
Right.
still looks good inside.
Hmm.
And that also similarly, we got one like that with the Final Shape.
Hmm.
And then you've got the set that came with Lightfall, which it's 3 hardback ones
Hmm.
in a
Yep.
nice slipcase. Like these are so much better. They've got nice illustrations inside. Like I felt like I paid, and they've got notes, they've got clarifications in them. I feel like I got my money's worth out of these, as opposed to, oh, I got a little paperback thing that can't even say what it is on the fucking spine, by the way. I was so annoyed because I'm like, oh, going into the Final Shape, I expected it to be like this nice thing, and like it looks hardback. It looks almost hardback
Yeah.
there. But it comes in an envelope, and I think the envelope it comes in is really cool. To be totally honest, it's like a dossier thing. I think that's really cool. I'll probably just leave it in that and like put it with my lore book, so it looks like it fits like in universe. It kind of reminds me of the Ghost Edition from Destiny 1 in a lot of ways. That's kind of how they did it. It was like in a little leather bound thing that it slipped into. But it's just like it feels cheap for the price I paid.
Yeah.
I'm not thrilled. If this had been, because I bought it without the game code. Without the game code, before tax, before shipping, this thing was $175. If I had paid 100 for this, I would not be as mad. I'd still probably be a little frustrated, but I wouldn't be actually angry. I was outright upset. Like I can go buy a $50 numbskull statue that is better quality, better detailed, feels like a collectible item, as opposed to this tower statue.
Yeah. By the way, did you
I
see the
almost
Cade one
want
on
them to
sale?
release a tower statue so I can just like put this one in the box and never look at it again.
Yeah, I'm actually shocked they haven't like announced another statue yet.
They did tease one today. They said next month they're announcing one.
Oh my gosh, I hope it's evolved.
Because people, when they started teasing Oryx yesterday, everyone was like, "Oh my god, they're gonna do an Oryx statue," and they did an Oryx plushie instead, which I still really want. But
Yeah. Oh my gosh, dude.
yeah. So I don't have great thoughts on this collector's edition. I'm actually really bummed out about it. It's the most expensive one, and I feel like it's the least bang for your buck since the Beyond Light one. Now it's better than the Beyond Light one. I'm gonna be honest, but for the price increasing by like $50 basically cancels it out.
Hmm.
I would have to go back and look at like credit card statements, but I'm pretty sure that my Witch Queen collector's edition only cost $100 without the code. At
Hmm.
most, it cost 125. I looked at my Lightfall one without the code; it cost 150 last year.
Yeah, I knew Lightfall cost 150. I thought the Witch Queen was 150 also, but I don't know.
No, I think Witch Queen at most I think was like 125. Either way, I feel like Witch Queen is like probably the highest quality one that we've gotten for the price in
Mhm.
Destiny 2.
Yeah.
We actually have a question about collector's editions, which is part of why
Ooh.
I wanted to bring this up no matter what. Tiger Jesus writes in, what are your top 3 Destiny collector's editions, and where does the Final Shape one rank overall? We're
Oh,
gonna
dude.
save that second question until Corey's had a chance to open his.
Yeah.
We're gonna save that question for next week, but top 3 collector's editions, not counting the Final Shape because it's not making the top 3 regardless.
Right. Well,
Um,
you got to
I'm
send
gonna let this go back to Destiny 1.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say the original Destiny, the big collector's edition
The Ghost
with
Edition.
the Dinklebot ghost is awesome.
That's still number 1 for me.
Yeah, I have it sitting up there with the rest of my ghosts. That
Mine
one,
is mine is on the shelf behind me, one of my shelves.
yeah. I actually really like the Puka in the Lightfall collector's
Mm-hmm.
edition. Um, so I think I would put that probably in my top 3. I don't know if it would be 2, but I mean the Witch Queen one is good. I didn't really care for the Shadowkeep one. I just have it because it's rare, to be honest.
Man, I love the Shadowkeep one. The Cryptolith is like the only collector's item from the series, and I'm like, God, I really wish I had that.
Yeah. It's back there. I have it. It's cool, but I don't know. The Witch Queen one is pretty cool. So I guess it would be that for
Yeah,
me.
I mean, I think those are probably my top three also.
Yeah.
I think it's really hard to get because like I'm tempted to bump because I didn't like the puka as much. I like the detail of the puka, but after how cool the Hive Ghost with the music box and like the RFD chips was,
Yeah.
it was really hard to top that one for me.
Yeah, that's
Um,
fair.
I would actually, I can't believe I'm gonna say this. I'm actually really tempted to put vanilla D2s in there because I love the Cabal box that the lore books come in.
Oh.
I think that was really cool, and I like the if you bought the Ultra Collector's Edition, you got the Hawthorne bag.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody wants
I
Hawthorne.
thought that was really cool. All those years, it was on clearance on Amazon. I just never bought it. It was like $60, and I never
Mhm.
bought it. And I again, it's one of those regretful moments because I just wanted the Cabal box out of it with the lore books. That's all I wanted.
This one.
Yeah. So when we talk about there's varying levels of quality to the physical materials, like that should be the standard for something I'm paying $170 for.
Yeah, this one's pretty good.
That is like the bare minimum. Oh, that's not even the bare minimum. The bare minimum is the Lightfall one that I showed y'all. This is what it should be if I'm spending that much money.
Yeah.
It should allow me to put all my little like physical materials in there. I should be able to put the Vanguard dossier. I should be able to put the patch that I get. I should be able to put the note from Ido. I should have a slot to put the leather book into. Like I should be able to put all that into like a compact little like it almost looks like a book going on my shelf.
I wish there was like
There's no excuse. There's no excuse for that.
yeah.
I should not be able to go out and buy a $20 grimoire book and get better quality than what I'm getting in a collector's edition.
Right. I
This
also
is
think
the one that you're showing on camera right now is the Taken King, correct?
yes. So this one
Again, another box really well done.
yeah, and it has like this like
It's Cade's journal.
it has Cade's journal and inside is a strange coin somewhere.
Yeah, you get a strange coin, and I think there was a map too, wasn't
There
there?
is a map. It's folded up right here actually.
So this is the kind again, like if I'm paying and this was only a $100 collector's edition, keep that in mind.
Yeah.
It came with a steelbook. It comes with all that. It came with the game, obviously. Like, this is stuff that if I'm paying $170, I expect this level of quality.
Yeah. This is a good
So
one.
I'm very disappointed, like to the point where this is probably my last Destiny Collector's Edition, regardless of what they do.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't feel worth it to me. Like, it would feel worth it if it was like, I don't know, just a nicer set. Like, I know that I'm going to get a digital soundtrack as part of it. Why can't I get a physical? Why can't you throw me a physical CD in there?
Yeah.
You
I
know,
don't
why can't you throw me a physical CD? Throw me honestly, like I know not a lot of people. Well, I know a lot of people use vinyl records. Throw me a 9-inch or a 7-inch. Excuse me. Throw me a 7-inch record with the Destiny theme on it and like the Tower theme or something.
yeah.
That would have been so cool for a Final Shape Collector's Edition.
Hmm.
You don't have to give me any music that's from the Vinyl Shape. You can just give me like the Tower themes on a vinyl record, like a 4 song EP.
Yeah.
You can give me that. Like
Hmm.
there are so many things that I feel like you could have done to make a cool collector's edition and you just didn't.
Yeah.
And that's a shame because I think that they've made so many cool ones for so many years, like going all the way back to the Halo 3 Master Chief edition.
Hmm.
Like I feel
Yeah.
like Bungie has just always made good collector's editions. And it was kind of like Beyond Light was like this weird, like, okay, they didn't really do a good one here. And now it's like, damn, I'm like, this is really disappointing for the price that it was. I'm really bummed out. I'm like genuinely annoyed by it.
Yeah.
But I think I'd agree with you for top 3 collector's editions. I'm going in no particular. I'm going Ghost, Witch Queen, Destiny 1 Ghost Edition, Witch Queen, Lightfall.
Yeah.
I have a feeling I would put the Shadowkeep one on there over Lightfall if I had the Shadowkeep one.
Hmm.
But since I don't have it, I'm not going to put it on there.
Mm.
I'm going to do the decent thing and try and find one on eBay.
Yeah, they're actually they've been cheap for a while. I mean
Yeah, it might be
cheaper than they have been, I'll say. Not cheap, but
because I want to get that. And then I want to at least get the lore books from the Taken King and Vanilla D2. I mainly just want to complete my lore book set. Is really what I want to do here. That's the crux of the issue. I just want to complete my Destiny library.
That's fair.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to my wife the other day when this came in the mail, and I was like, "Man, this is," and I just like lined up all.
Oh boy, Josh is complaining.
No, I did not say that. But I did. I just lined them all up, and I was like, "Man, this 10 years. Like this game's been in my life longer than my wife has, which is insane to think about. Like if you include like the alpha and everything, like."
Yeah.
And I lined up all these collectors. I'm like, this is probably the last one I'm getting, because like, I mean, unless I do something really exciting and crazy, right? But like, this is probably the last one. And then I know it was like I don't know. It really feels like a send off to the old players. Like I don't know, man. It's crazy.
It is. It's a send off in a lot of ways. It's the end of an era, and I
Yeah,
think that that's something that we've like really been kind of like. It feels really weird to say it like this, but like kind of mourning in a way over the course of Season of the Wish is like
yeah,
this is a long drawn out season, so it's not like, oh, we only had to like go through this for 3 months. We've had to go through this for like we'll have gone through this for almost 7 months by the time the final shape comes out.
yeah,
And Into the Light is definitely going to like stem the bleeding. I'm so excited. Like this might be the last time I buy into a hype cycle for Destiny. With that, we got the final shape preview coming right before that drops. Like as long as that preview's good, we're going to go in so hyped. I'm going to be talking about it with Johnny and with Joe while we're doing Onslaught for the first time. It's just going to be like Tuesday's going to be an awesome day. Tuesday's going to be an awesome day. It's going to be a great show next week. I'm so excited to go in and do all these things. I have not been this excited to play Destiny in a very long time, and I think part of that's because I know that it's the end. Like it's the end of me keeping up with this as religiously as I have.
mhm,
And I think a lot of us are really feeling that way. Like I know that's kind of the sentiment from folks like Gatto and Fallout and people like that. Like even people who don't play the game anymore have kind of been like, oh man, this shit looks kind of cool. Like,
yeah,
yeah, that's the point. Like they're trying to draw us all in for like that final expansion. And like, I know I'm not going to play Marathon like hard at all. Like I'm probably going to play it because it's going to be free, but I'm not going to get super into Marathon. Like
yeah.
this is this is probably like this is going to kind of close a chapter of my life. I've spent 10 years playing this franchise
And
from
Halo,
the alpha until now, and I'm like kind of ready.
yeah.
I'm kind of
I,
ready. Like I can't. How many games can you say that like you kept playing the same game for 10 years?
I mean, I mean,
It's like unless you were playing like World of Warcraft or like
yeah.
EverQuest or something like that.
Yeah, I mean that would be the only equivalent, and I've never played either of those. So I mean, I
Yeah, like
I
some
mean,
sort of MMO.
yeah, it's like a bittersweet thing. Like you know what I mean? Like Destiny's just been a
Yep.
part of us for so long, and like I mean, I mean, obviously we're still gonna check in and stuff because it's just gonna be there. But like like you said, it's it's not gonna be like it has been. So
No, and that's okay.
yeah.
Oh, I really want to emphasize that that is okay. Like I think we're not the only folks in the Discord and who listen to this show that are like they're thinking that way.
Hmm.
They're like, okay, I've spent 10 years playing this. Like that's a third of my life, man.
Hmm. Yeah.
I'm turning 32 the day that the saga ends. Like
Yeah.
I've been playing this since I was in college.
Yeah. I mean, I was
Like I had
playing.
just started my final year of college when D1 came out, and I remember skipping class the day it came out. I skipped class, and I had a because y'all know I had two major surgeries that year. I was like, oh man, my leg is hurting real bad. I just don't know if I can go to school today. And that was because I had stayed up playing D1 all night.
Yep.
That I just like made up a bullshit excuse as to why I couldn't go to classes that day. And so and then but I'm good enough to prop myself up in bed and play, and like I went on another like 10-hour binge playing D1. Um and it was like, oh, this is what this game can be.
Yeah.
I think I cut class for my first vault run too.
Mm.
And it's just like I would go, and then like reset day I would go to. I would go and I would go to physical therapy. I would come home, hop on, and it was right at reset time. And boom, we were running Crota run. We were doing Crota runs right at reset every Tuesday because I had Tuesday off from class,
Yeah.
and it was just I will forever have great memories of this franchise.
Yeah. It's yeah, I agree.
It's a special time, but all good things come to an end at some point, Corey.
Yep. Yep. So
All good things come to an end. We have questions before we get out of here tonight.
we
We're
do.
no lore corner tonight. I told y'all I was trying to plan one out, but I want to see what the Into the Light lore looks like next week before I figure out a course forward for us. We have a lot of questions tonight.
Yeah, there's a ton.
I want to start with a question that we did not read last week that I promised that we would get to.
Ooh.
I got to find the thread from last week, actually.
No, we didn't delete
Um,
it, did we?
no, we did not. All threads are archived. Hail Hydra last week asked us a question for next week. It's really two questions. If you could bring back one planet from D1 or D2, what would you pick? I would either pick Venus for its aesthetic or Io because I feel like there's so many massive story threads that got left behind there. I mean Io for me.
I would yeah. I would say Venus just for the sheer fact cuz that's where obviously Elsie is talking to somebody, right? There's a lot of like mystery still for, for that story and like I don't know. I want to see what's going on there.
I so my whole problem with like the story from Venus is I feel like so many of the threads that we would have picked up there outside of like the Vault of Glass obviously. I feel like so many of those story threads got picked up by the logs that we find on the Veil containments on Neomuna, the story of Maya Sundarush specifically.
Yeah.
That's one of the major story threads that people wanted forever was that the Ishtar Collective, and I feel like the stories on Neomuna really did a lot of what we would have explored and found out about in the archives on Venus.
Yeah, that's fair.
Um, I would love a world in which we like gift Venus to the Elixni going forward. I think that would be really cool. Or those who don't want to travel home to Reese,
Yeah.
because I do still pretty firmly think that's happening. Because that's actually a great follow up. Because Hydra's second question is, if you could add one planet we haven't been to in Sol or out of Sol, where would you choose? Some thoughts on the design or factions present will be fun to hear. Reese is going to be my choice every time.
Yeah. I mean that's
Um,
that's the most interesting at this
I think
point.
it's the most plausible.
Yeah.
We already know that Aramis is trying to get back there. She's basically decided if she's gonna face the end, she wants to be with Aetheris and she wants to be at Reese
Yeah.
if the end of the universe is coming. So I think that sets her up to be a character in the future.
Yeah.
And we know that things are not done between her, Mithrax, and Ido either.
Uh-huh.
Um, so I do pretty firmly think we're going to explore that in the future.
Yeah.
Um, and then we have so many questions this week. Um, I tried to sprinkle some throughout the show because it made sense. Hydra asked us a couple of questions this week. We already talked about the exotic missions. We don't the changes, and we kind of talked about that a little bit. The role we talked about what we want on those. Are you more excited for Outbreak and Whisper to be craftable, or for the legendary weapons shown last week? For me, 12 trumps 2 every time.
Yeah.
I can go get great versions of both of these exotics right now out of the kiosk in the tower if I wanted to.
Yeah. I agree. As
I
much as
can't I can't go get all 12 of these weapons
right.
usable in the sandbox.
Right. I mean, as much as I love Outbreak, Josh, you know
Yeah,
me. I would, yeah, I would. I'm going to be chasing some of these because some of these I just was not playing
right.
at the time, right? Like, just need to get some of these weapons. So, anyway,
Agreed. Agreed.
so
If you were to make the Vex the next big bad, how would you do that? Because in every DLC, they seem to just be the annoying side enemy, like mosquitoes or your annoying sibling, when they could be so much more. See events on Europa. I think a creative choice was made at some point to say we got to punt the Vex.
mhm,
Um,
yeah,
because in Destiny 1, we got a lot about the Fallen and the Hive. We didn't really get anything about the Cabal. Like the Cabal and the Vex were both these big mysteries, and then Vanilla D2 is all Cabal. It's all Cabal.
Mm-hmm.
And the only time that we really got any sort of Vex was Curse of Osiris. And the Vex have like we've kind of dealt with them like here and there in seasons. You know, Splicer and Undying come to mind. Obviously, they're a part of Wish. I think it's very telling that they're the first episode following the final
Yeah.
shape in Echoes.
Yeah.
I do think that that sets them up to be the big bad of the next expansion because we pretty sorely need them. Like we've done everything we can with the other three factions. Let's be totally honest.
Yeah. I mean, we've
Like
resolved
the
our
Cabal and the Fallen are damn near extinct.
yeah, and the ones that are left are kind of our allies now, right? And so
Yeah,
and like we're obviously the Hive, we're wrapping that up seemingly with
hopefully.
yeah.
God, I'm so tired of the Hive.
Yeah. I mean, as awesome as Savathun and Oryx and Zebu Wrath are, like I'm ready for them to be gone.
Savathun was very much the like that was like the pinnacle of the Hive storyline, and I really think that probably should have been the end.
Yeah,
Um, but I understand, you know, that's the bulk of the Witnesses army is like Hive and Taken at this point. Some
yeah,
Scorn.
yeah,
Um, I think it's interesting that they've drawn all these like lines in the sand of like, oh well, there's different factions of these enemies. Like they all hate us, but like some are fighting for themselves, some are fighting for the Witnesses forces. The Scorn in particular, because we know there's some under the control of Fickrel, some under the control of the Witness.
hmm
Uh, I think if you're going to make the Vex the big bad, you got to deal with that portal on Europa because that
hmm
leads that has long been theorized to lead to the Vex Forge.
hmm
It's like where that they come from.
hmm
I would love to be able to explore that one of these days. I mean that had been my theory for the Deep Stone Crypt is that we were actually going to go through that portal.
yeah,
And I would really like to follow through on that. Like I would love if we just started an expansion right there and like that was the first mission. Like we just boot up and we immediately walk through the portal.
yeah. I mean, that
Like we get a
be
distress
awesome.
call from Europa by Elsie or something, and like us and the Vanguard are fighting off these hordes and hordes of enemies at the end of the Blastway strike, and then they're like, oh, we gotta go through and establish a beachhead, just like we did with the Dreadnought,
Hmm. That'd be
and
awesome.
this idea of like being alone, like behind enemy lines, and like you plant the beacon, and all of a sudden like the Armada is like showing up or something. I'd even love it like we plant the beacon and like, oh, well, it's gonna take us 6 months to reach the Guardian, and like I would actually love it if like Faded to Black and was like 6 months later, and like there was a cutscene of us like doing like us and like a group of hunters doing reconnaissance or something, and then the Armada shows up. Like things like that would be so cool. It's just really hard to do that in an MMO structure.
Yeah,
So there are things that could be done. I would love to fight the Vex as the next big bad. Maybe do. I mean, you don't even have to leave Soul. I mean, again, like you could do that for like a raid or something, but like there's still mysteries in the vault to be found. Obviously, we're going back to the Whisper mission. That's Taken and Vex, and if we ever get back to the Pyramidion, oh buddy boy,
oh,
we've opened a whole new avenue of dealing with the Vex with the Splicer gauntlets and with the
yeah,
Elixni technology.
yeah,
There's so many things you can do there.
yeah. There's a lot. I mean, especially and also like the time mechanic also is like you could play
Yeah.
I mean the
Jumping through time would be really
I
cool.
mean my back end theory at one point was like we're gonna like the Vex are gonna reset and that's how like you're gonna reset Destiny for people is like just some sort of time jump backwards with the Vex. um and then
That could be cool. That could be cool.
and that's where like they become the big bad so you can reset the timeline or something. um
Yeah.
but like they've already played so much with time with Elsie and stuff that like I kind of lost that theory over time, but I thought that would have
Yeah,
worked
I
interesting.
think having Elsie be the time jumper makes a
Hmm.
lot of sense. I
Yeah,
could even see a scenario in which the Guardian becomes caught in the time loop and like has to maintain it constantly
yeah,
as a way to quote, like you said, reset and we play as a new Guardian in the future or
yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah.
Um our next question. We actually answered a lot of these during the course of the show. Titan Class writes in. This was a question specifically for me, I feel. Which Destiny character, past or present, could dribble a basketball between their legs the best?
Shax.
Man,
It's
so
right there.
I really wanted to say Mithrax here.
Oh boy.
I feel like Mithrax would have a killer. He has a
I
he
feel
has a
like
step back three though. He's got Mamba mentality. Okay.
I feel like Mithrax could do that spider dribble real cool because he's got all them arms.
Yeah. That's the thing though. Like I'm trying to think of like if you only have two arms, like who's got the best moves. I feel like Shax and Saint 14 are just like schoolyard bullies out there on the blacktop.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I would love to say that I feel like Devrim could come in and just like school some people.
Yeah. I feel like
He's just like this silent assassin.
yeah, like he's like the Steph Curry. He just steps back and shoots threes all
If
day.
now I'll tell you, Sloan is my other choice. I think Sloan's got some Caitlin Clark in her.
Yeah. Yeah. Well. Yeah.
I think she would come in and cook us.
Probably. Where would Shahan fall on your basketball team, Josh?
Oh man, I was gonna make a joke that he should be Malachi Flynn, but Flynn just dropped 50 points last night, so I can't make that joke.
He's like the towel
God,
boy.
Shahan is the guy getting me my Gatorade.
He's like the laundry guy, the towel boy
He's the guy who wipes up the sweat off the court.
with them. With the big
He's like
twins.
he's not allowed to play. He's a member of the G League Ignite.
Oh God, no, he's not. He's not even that good.
He's not even that good.
He's like the practice squad of the G League.
Tiger Jesus did ask another question. He asked it jokingly. He said, "The only crossover question I think Josh will accept is who has the best crossover in the NBA at this point. It's Kyrie. It's Kyrie Irving.
It's Kyrie. It's been Kyrie for a while.
Kai has the best handles, but man, and I'm a little biased because obviously I watch 82 games of Dallas a year. But man, when Luka does that step back dribble, or if he goes to his left, he gets the ball into his left hand and he's driving left, you're fucked.
Yeah,
like that's great. I would say, yeah, Kyrie's got to have the best crossover at this point. I don't know anybody else who's like even in the same conversation as Kyrie for a crossover. Like,
yeah.
I can't think of anybody. I was like, everybody I thought of is a step below. My honorable mentions are I like Jalen Brunson. I like Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, Donovan
man,
okay. Yeah, I would still
it's a really, really hard question.
I would still take Kyrie over Donovan Mitchell.
Oh, damn, listen, dude.
Mean,
I'm taking Kyrie. I'm taking Kyrie. He's got one of the best offensive skill sets we've ever seen on the basketball court.
Yeah, too bad like a head case sometimes.
He's an enigma, but he has been nothing but a great teammate in Dallas. I will say that.
Well, that's good. I mean, it's
fantastic. He's Cleveland Kyrie again, which makes me very happy. And I think that's it. I think that's all that we've got. We actually weaved a lot of these into the show this week.
Nice.
So,
well, Josh,
Corey,
we did it.
What do you say we get out of here? Get out of here a little bit early tonight.
Yeah, let's get out of here.
Last short show for a while, I'm thinking.
Yeah, I feel some 120 plus shows coming on soon, Josh. So
next week's is going to be an absolutely packed show. We've got, as a reminder, we've got the Into the Light dropping, but before that, we got the Final Shape showcase happening for the half hour prior to that. We've got the Into the Light trailer that's going to drop. The Whisper mission drops. Onslaught drops. The first 6 weapons, including Recluse, are dropping on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
All of that is next week.
Yeah.
So there's a lot coming. There's trials changes coming next weekend, which I shan't be playing, but I'm looking forward to y'all's feedback on that. It's going to be a very busy show next week. I'm excited. I'm here for it.
Yeah, me too.
It's time. We've had some real short shows as of late, but it's time. And we're rapidly approaching 200.
I know, man. This is what 192, I think, is what this is.
I believe so.
That's what it says in my notes. So hopefully I counted right this whole time.
Also, I wanted to throw this out there for anybody who like heard our collector's edition talk and is like, man, I really wish I could get one of those fancy collector's editions. The Lightfall collector's edition with no game code is still available on the Bungie store as of the time of this recording for $77.
Yeah, it's cool. The Puka's cool. It lights up.
There are only 28 of these left. I actually picked one of these up the other day for a friend. They are shipping immediately, by the way.
Yep.
28 of these bad boys left.
Yeah, go get them. Go get them.
Go get them. Also, the Nerf blaster, the Nerf Gallarhorn is $124. Go get them.
I'm waiting.
Get you a Saint 14 helmet.
I know. I want that too. Anyways, Josh,
I'm done shilling for the Bungie store.
We all know how much money you spend on the Bungie store. Oh man, I want to thank everybody for watching and or listening to this episode of Tower Casuals. Josh, thank you for your time tonight, as always. Where can we find you?
Josh_Finn on Twitter. 2 N's.
2 N's.
2 N's, baby.
Two
I
N's.
love that I joined a voice chat last night in the Discord and everyone's like, oh, hey, it's Josh Finn, 2 N's.
Really?
It's like, God damn it.
That's funny. Well,
yes, two separate people said that to me.
You gotta know though. I mean,
I have a brand.
Yeah, 2 N's. 2 N's.
2 N's, baby. 2 N's.
You can follow me at I am Corin HD. You can find new episodes every Friday. Check out Xbox Casuals every Tuesday. That's it. Join the Discord. Thank you so much for watching and or listening. Until next time, we love you. Goodbye.